All right, guys, welcome to the show. This is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast. And hey, it is Friday. And man, it's been a very busy and hot day. But you know what? It's not about me, man. It's about this gentleman sitting right here in this chair, Mr. Tony motherfucking Kane. Hey, man, welcome to the show. I appreciate you coming out of your busy schedule to join me. And I know you've been reaching out to come on the show. So, hey, the time is here. The time is now. But before we get started, give you guys the heads up, I did have a podcast with Australian Paranormal Society. Uh, Apparently their time difference, they are a little bit confused with the time difference. Apparently I told them 10 p.m. Central. Apparently they're 15 hours ahead of us, so things got a little crazy, but that's okay. uh, but I got an interesting gentleman here that I can definitely talk to. But before we get started, man, I got to pay some bills. If it wasn't for the bills, I don't know how I would get paid. So we're going to take a quick little break. And when we get back, we're going to jump into the mind and the thoughts of Tony motherfucking Kane. So in the meantime, hey, you guys stay right with me and I'll be right back. All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to the show. This is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast, Friday edition. As I was talking to you guys earlier, I had Australian Paranormal Society supposed to come on the show, but things happened where aren't able to make it. Time had something to do with time, but that's okay. But you know what? I got a very interesting gentleman on the show tonight, Tony Kane. Uh, Tony Kane is it originally from Arkansas?
Misery,
Arkansas,
misery.
Arkansas. But anyway, he's from Missouri originally, guys. And hey, I'm curious to know a little bit about this gentleman. So, with enough said, Tony Kane, introduce yourself to the world, brother.
Hello, world. Tony Kane. Yep, Terry knows my nickname. Not sure we need to get into details on that, but was introduced to him 3, 4 weeks ago. And a little back history. I've had some sensitivity since I was a young child, saw some things, developed an ability to talk to those things, and never did anything with it other than be annoyed or, I guess, curious. And I was watching a series on one of the streaming services about paranormal children, and saw some things that I'm like, oh, these kids were, scared of it, and a lot of these scenes and the things in the interviews, all the things that happened to me, and I don't really ever remember being scared, just more like, what is this? And I would tell my parents, and they thought I had imaginary friends, etc., etc. Uh, skipping forward, they now feel the presence of what I felt in my growing up house. But the major point why I contacted Terry is that these kids were asked by certain police departments to help solve unsolved missing person cases using their skills. And I'm like, man, I've got the abilities. Why don't I use this to help the world in a way rather than just, dealing with it and being I normally share that I had these because people think you're crazy in most instances. But yeah, after I finished the series, I did a little search, paranormal investigation teams near me, and came across Terry. We communicated a little bit, did some interviewing, and he asked me to join the team, and here I am. So I want to share my gifts and hopefully help people in any way I can. And at the worst case, have a little fun with it. We got a good group.
Great, great. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Like I say, the situation was a little bit different, but you know what? Let's dive right into a little bit about your gifts and how you able to use them and control them. If you're able to do that, if you're able to get to a point where you're able to control, turn things on, turn things off. A lot of people that are in your situation are able to do so. Now, are you able to do so when time seems fit for you to cut this off, or does it go constantly 24/7?
Um, that's a great question. I am now able to turn them off, and I would say turn them on so I can, if I decide to let them in, do that. So another little backstory. I dated a girl for a while, and her mom, she had a little bit of sensitivity, and she felt it in me, and I didn't have to tell her, and so I explained it. And she's like, you need to talk to my mom." I talked to her, and she kind of trained me up a little bit, if you want to put it that way. And I kind of told her my experiences, and she shared hers with me. And I told her about, sometimes late at night they can sense that I can talk to them, and so it was nonstop. And she's like, all you have to do is tell them to stop and put your mindset in, and you kind of said it, like turn it off like a light switch, and that helped a lot because there were nights, people, spirits were coming up to me, grabbing me, waking me up, and wanting to talk, and they were excited because nobody's talking to them. And it got to the point, I'm like, dude, I have a job. You need to go away. I mean, like, you can come back, it gets dark. I'll sit on the back porch if you want to talk, but we got to cut this shit off at a certain point. And so to answer your question, yeah, I have the ability to turn it on and off. Sometimes when I turn it on and it gets intense, there is a price to pay for that, on me physically. So I have to be careful with that. But to answer your question, yeah, I do have the ability to turn it off as far as I know. Doing
Hmm.
what I'm starting to do with you, I like, there is a worry that, hey, I get into a situation and my on off switch doesn't work. What the fuck am I going to do? I'm going to figure it out. But yeah, that's how I'd answer that question.
Okay. Now, do you sometimes have a spirit that wants to communicate with you, but wants you to relay a message to another individual? Now, this individual might not be somebody that but they're giving you a name, they're giving you a certain address. And do you feel like you obligated to indulge this spirit with his request if need to be?
Yeah, that's an easy one. No, I've never had that. It's always been one-on-one individual. I've never had a request. It's more of them wanting to talk because everybody needs attention and they're getting
Hmm.
attention. And I've never had a request. I'm not to say it won't happen, but it has not happened in my 45 years of having this gift.
Wow. Okay. Well, if it did happen, would you do it?
I'm very altruistic in nature, so I probably would, given the if we have a conversation and I know it's good for a good reason, I
Hmm.
probably would. Yeah. Again, and like in the last day, I kind of contacted you because I want to use this to help people. So if it's going to help
Right,
someone, absolutely.
right, right. And okay, well, welcome to the show, my friend.
Eh,
How are we doing today?
not bad, not bad.
You look tired
Yeah, I am. Did a little grocery shopping yesterday.
and didn't invite me.
Hey, you didn't ask.
I would have came. Irene, I want you
What?
to meet Tony Kane. Tony Kane, I think the reason why I brought you two together is because I think you guys have a lot in common.
Mhm,
I think that you guys uh, share a special gift.
mhm,
And I wanted to share that with you guys and uh, come on the show and talk to Tony. And we're at, and we're able, to have a good dialogue about,
mhm,
um, the spirit world.
mhm,
And because everybody know things are different,
mhm,
between each individual that's gifted.
mhm.
So with that said, can you please tell Tony a little bit about your gift, and let's see if the two are, I'm not going to say 100% similar, but are a little bit similar to what he's going through.
Oh, okay. I can see what he's going through right now. It's okay. Um, Hi Tony. This is my name is Irene. I live in Tokyo, Japan. Um, I hate labels, but people say that I'm a clairvoyant. Um, I I could see spirits. I could talk to them. Um, Terry knows a lot about that. Um, I I can't tell you what's in your head, but I can tell you what's with you and other things about yourself internally, but not externally. I can see. I talk to a lot of people who need help with the crossing over of passing of people who made difference in their lives or their family members. That's what I do a lot. That's what that's what I do now. Actually, I don't give I don't give um readings anymore because that could be a real sticky subject. But yeah, um, and I do healing also.
Mm,
Okay.
okay. Well, guys, having, let's start off like this: having gifted people in the world, a lot of people think that you guys have a bigger, uh how can I want to say, you guys have a big intake in the world, or the future of the world, on what's going to happen in the future. Now, I don't know for this to be true, but I do think you guys are set on this planet for a reason.
Mhm.
I, I don't think you guys are here just to say, hey, I have a gift. Tony, you say you want to help people. Irene has been helping people probably since day one.
Mhm.
Uh, maybe that is the reason why you guys have these gifts. So
Mhm.
you guys are able to help people when they need it.
Mhm.
Tony, what you think?
No, that's great. And Irene, nice to meet you. And clairvoyance, yeah. So I'm very intuitive. I don't think I'm even close to the caliber of what you just told to me because I can't feel or sense what your situation is, that's a completely different gift, and that's amazing
Mhm.
because you'll have the potential to help people in a more specific way than I can. But
it's it's
I,
it's yeah, it's not an easy gift to have. Sometimes I wish I don't have it. Like,
I was going to ask, I was like, are you cool with it? But anyway, so thank you for answering that before I ask it. So that definitely explains she's clairvoyant.
yeah.
But no, like I've always been intuitive. I always thought of it as observational in the physical world, but I think it's
Mm,
also observational in the spiritual world. I feel things, not necessarily what's going to happen, but something's going to happen, whether that be negative or positive. And it's always allowed me to
mhm,
traverse the trail of, I
mhm,
don't want to be close to that, so I'm going to walk away from it, or this feels very positive. Let's find out more, but nothing concrete in my mind. Like, all right, this is what's going to happen in Austin, Texas on January 1st, 2025. This thing, like, I don't have that, but I do have a sense of what's going on and what may happen. And deja vu has been a big thing in my life. So I do feel like I've been in places before and they end up happening. I'm 50 and I probably have 50 or 60 experiences where I felt something was going to happen and it eventually did. And that's the only way I know how to answer that without being, more vague than I already am.
Now, okay, let me ask both of you guys a question because I don't think I've asked Irene this question before, and Tony. Many nights, me and you set out and we talked for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Maybe I've never asked you this question before. Now, like you say, Tony, you want to help people, and Irene, you also like to help. Now, does it ever come a point in you guys' mind where you think that society is not that society is not
mhm.
good enough for you guys to help them anymore? Starting with Irene because she's been doing this the longest.
Tony, I have to tell you one thing. I heard a voice tell me that you don't like how people don't want to perceive you, and that's what bothers you the most. Um, it's it that it's really annoying to you because people don't want to accept and perceive what you do and how you do it and the way you do it. That's what I'm getting from. That's what I'm hearing out of this year. But anyways, it's like for me, you can take it or leave it. You don't like it, I don't care. Like
Hmm.
like all right, bye bye. Like I'll go this way, you go that way. Have a nice life. Bye, see ya. And I'll just keep on going the route that I want to go, or the route that I know that's best for me. Instead of, yeah, they can do whatever they want. You don't like it, that's too bad. You can don't understand, that's too bad too. Like tough cookies, right? I mean, I've gained a tougher skin now because you have to take both the negative and the positive with it, and you have to ditch anyone who doesn't understand you. That's what I think the most right now. And I don't try to explain myself, and I will not try to push daisies up your butt because you don't accept me. Well, that's too bad. Yeah, have fun, have a nice life. But really, it's tough enough as it is doing what I do and seeing what I see, and it makes life even harder, I think. So I try not to, and I just you know be with people who want to learn and who want to accept it and who believe in it. And
Hmm.
if you don't believe it, that's fine too.
Now, okay, that's cool. Tony, give me your take on that question.
I mean, the very first part of her statement nailed it. I have a lot of retorts to that. So, because of this ability, I got into negotiations and eventually led to sales, and she kind of nailed it. I'm here and I'm asking you what your needs are, or I can feel or sense what your needs are. Let's put it in that context. And I'll engage a conversation and say, hey, here's who I am, here's what I do and can do. And based on the situation I'm understanding that you're telling me or I'm feeling, here's some suggestions that I have. And she nailed it. You can take it or leave it. And if you don't want to accept it or believe what I do or can do for you, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Or I can show you what I'm seeing is the path you should go down to change your
Mhm.
situation. So Irina, you nailed that part. Um, as I mean, seriously, she did. As far as society in general, I mean, we're in a very, very fucked up state of the world, especially here in the states. With you know, there's been talks of World War Three, or not World War Three, the second um, Civil War, which is crazy because we're Americans. We're the greatest country in the world, and we're fighting with each other over stupid shit.
Yeah.
So when I think of people in general, I don't judge, but I do a little bit because
Yeah.
if you come into a situation with an attitude and I feel like you need help, and I'm like, do I even give this person the time of day to try to help them when they're going to probably tell me to go fuck myself? Uh, I mean, Irene, am I on point with that?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like to Terry to answer your question. Uh, as far as people go, I mean, I'm open. I'm going to listen and I'm going to
Hmm.
feel and I'm going to try to help. But if
Hmm.
they're not willing to engage or they're closed off, like in the sales world, why waste my time trying to help somebody that I can't help when I can go to someone else that wants help and accepts it? Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And accept it and wants to listen, right? If you don't
Yeah,
want to listen, that's your problem, not mine.
yeah. And if you think I'm full of shit, then tell me so I don't waste my time on you and I can move to the
Yeah.
next.
Take a number. Take a number.
No, yeah, that's the point I'm saying. Yeah, next, please. Who sings that? Ariana Grande. Next, please.
Yeah. Bye bye.
How would you know that?
I mean, and
Are you?
that doesn't
Are you?
necessarily mean spiritual. I mean, that.
No, I mean, are you a Ariana Grande fan?
No, I just like that song. I'm like, well, you've been out
Are
here,
you,
you
wait
know.
a minute? Are you? Oh my God, dude.
Tom, Tony, you know what would really scare the shit out of him? Say, yeah, how many? By the way, you got an attachment. Bye.
And see, I wouldn't do that. I mean, that's almost bullying, or in the
No,
sales world,
no,
that's a scare
no.
tactic.
If
I mean,
if
that's a
if
scare
they
tactic.
do, if they do have one, you say, yeah, you got an attachment. See ya. They say, oh, hold on, come back here, come back here. I go, you say you don't want anything to do with me, so bye bye.
Yeah.
Right?
And see, I'd actually be more honest. If I actually sense the attachment, I'm like, so this thing that you're dealing with that scares the shit out of you, or bothers you, or talks to you, you don't know what it is. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I'm being serious. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Quick question. Mostly for you guys. You guys know Australia Paranormal Society was supposed to be my guest tonight.
Mhm.
They are asking, can they jump on the show? What are you guys thinking?
Hey, I always think the more the better if they're all on our team, man.
Uh oh.
I think this is a good forum, Terry. I appreciate being on the podcast, man.
Sure.
Anything we can teach or help, I'm game for.
Bring it on.
Bringing them on? Okay.
I just want to figure out the energy why they wanted to come on.
Well, because I think they got, because Australia, just like you, they're 15 hours away, time difference.
Hmm.
And I think they got confused in the time or whatever.
No, it's okay.
And you
Yeah,
know how podcasters are. We're only going to give you 15, 20 minutes. If you're not on, we'll consider that a cancellation,
exactly.
and and,
Or
and
bring
we'll
on
move
somebody
on.
else.
Oh,
Take
I'm
their
bringing on
place,
somebody
right?
else.
Yeah, I
Yes,
get
right.
that too. Yeah. That's hot. It's hot, Terry. It's so hot. I mean, damn.
Well, winter's coming now, guys. There's a question that I want to ask you guys. Is Irene, when you, because me and Tony was talking last week, and we had this pretty good discussion about every person on this planet has a gift, and it's all up to the individual on how strong that gift is. And if they do have a gift, do they embrace that gift, or they kind of quarantine it off, they close it off where they don't want to be bothered? Do you think every person on this planet actually are gifted at one point or another?
Yeah. You either have it or you embrace it or you don't, like my daughter. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She just but she's got it. She knows she's got it, but she don't want it.
Well, me and your daughter, you sent me that picture yesterday. Man, she looks just like you. Oh my god, dude. And she looked like she don't put up with no BS either.
No, she's an Aries like you, dude.
And man, and when she was doing something like this or doing that, or I'm
Yeah.
not for sure what she was doing in that picture, but hell, I'm 15 hours away, dude, and she scared the hell out of me. You know what I'm saying? So, hey guys, we're gonna give Australian Paranormal Society a minute to jump in,
Okay.
and after that, we're gonna focus on them. We can get back to our conversation here
hmm Or
Sunday
we can
because
throw it in around the table, like bring
oh,
it around.
we can do a round table.
Yeah, that's
So
cool too.
oh man, I hope Amanda's not mad at me.
And I actually want to
She's
add
watching another
on.
podcast.
I want to add on to Irina's last statement. So I agree. I think everybody has the potential. It's kind of like the Jedi's and Star Wars. At a kid's age, it's
Yeah.
there.
hmm
They have to learn how to tap into it and
hmm
have the ability. Some of it came natural to me. I didn't ask for it; it just happened.
hmm
But I do think, to answer your question, everybody has the ability. It's just
hmm
tapping into it and accepting it, or it never shows up, or it never transgresses in their life. And as we
Yeah.
get older and our brains become more rigid, I think
hmm
that possibility of it happening goes further and further away unless
hmm
something traumatic or just
Or
outlandish happens to
yeah,
bring it
like
back.
boom, like a
Yeah.
sonic boom, like thing. Now you gotta deal with it. Like
Or or guys, or can this or let me ask you guys a question. If that's the case, and like you guys are saying, it takes something dramatic for that to get a jump start. Now, can would you both you guys agree with me that a near death experience will cause
hmm
such a boost or give you that energy that you need?
hmm
I think it's a very good possibility. Yes.
hmm I got possessed twice, and then it made me like either you accept it or you die. Okay, I'm gonna accept it. Okay, I want to live. I got kids. I need it. Like that's what I dealt with, and I said, okay. So I am.
Interesting. Now, Irene, I'm gonna ask you. This is a question that I asked Tony earlier, and I'm not for sure how he answered it. I think he said they don't or they might. I'm not sure. But when clairvoyants or gifted people pass, do you think in the spirit world that they continue having their gifts, or do you think it's been somehow, some way transferred to the next generation of family members that are coming into life? That means they're not, they're not born yet, but eventually they're going to be born. Now we do know sometimes things like this do skip a generation.
Mm-hmm.
So it might not be your grandkids or your great grandkids. It might be your great grandkids
Yeah.
that might get this. You
My
know, 'cause-
mom had it. My son has it. My daughter has it. I have it. My youngest son has it. So yeah, we all got it in my family.
Hmm. So Tony, is it possible that your daughter has it but just haven't spoken to you about it?
She has a tinge of it. We've spoken about this, and she knows my abilities, and she feels things, but it's not as strong as I have it. So yes, she has the inkling of the ability. I don't think she's ready to accept it because of the experiences I have, and you know, she she doesn't know if she wants to deal with it or not.
Mm.
It's scary to them because you only see what's here, but beyond here, they don't know. But to tell you the truth, beyond here is the scary than not knowing. I think, in my case, actually.
Well, that's life. Yeah, anything you don't know, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. Boy, I had not heard that saying in a long time. You know what I'm saying? Guys, all right. Well, you know what? We got a good dialogue going on here. Uh, Irene, if you was to, first of all, I've never asked you this question, and like you were saying a few minutes ago, your daughter don't want nothing to do with it, and your son sometimes toys with it, but he really don't want anything to do with it.
Mm.
Are you willing to take? Are you willing to have a prodigy? So are you willing to teach and learn and educate someone about how to handle their gifts?
I have a student in Indiana. I'm teaching her. My family, it's up to them. It's up to them if they want to embrace it or not. I'll leave it to them. Um, my oldest son really has worse than I do, so I know what he's doing. But my youngest son, yeah, he has potential, but uh, I'm leaving it up to my the person who I'm teaching right now.
Hmm.
She's my student.
Okay. Now, Tony, are you willing to get a Padawan, as we all call it, to when you know, eventually elevate your gifts and you become that Jedi Knight? Are you willing to take a Padawan that's gifted and you can actually show them how to do it, what to do, and and make sure they do the right things with it?
100%. And I don't feel like I'm a master. Like I've just been, teetering this my whole life, and until I met you, I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. But yeah, as far like I feel like I'm the Padawan, and I'm soaking in, and I'm glad you introduced me to Irene. Like I want to learn as much as I can. But yes, if I get to the level, and even right now, if somebody came to me, I would tell them everything that I know if they wanted to learn to teach them. The more I know, the more I would give that, education on. So to answer your question, yes. Do I
Now,
feel like I'm a master? No, not yet.
now, but the thing, okay, now the next question is, Irene, would there, I don't think there will ever be a person that is so heavily gifted that they would consider themselves above others.
Nope.
Mm-mm,
So no, so
mm-mm,
it's pretty much like the paranormal field where you're constantly learning and you're constantly evolving and you wanted to learn more and more. Now, is it possible that you can know too much? Because in the in the same aspect, I mean, the paranormal field and the spirit, the I forgot what you call it. It might be the same, but it's totally two different things.
Oh,
I tell you what, you can put it in the same box, but then again, what you guys do can actually form their own box if they choose to.
hmm, yeah. Tony, I have uh somebody who's screaming at me and telling me, Tony, be careful your stomach. Tony, be careful your legs. Your legs are gonna hurt later on. Tony, be careful your stomach. If you don't watch what you eat, you're gonna get a stomach problem.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
My stomach?
One of your ancestors is screaming in my ears right now. I said, oh, yeah, okay. Terry knows what's going on in my house. I got this window, okay, where spirits can come in and talk to me. And when I'm on a podcast, they know that I can talk to you, that I can see you, and they know that I can see them talking to you. So that's what they're telling me. So just be careful of your body.
My body. Well, thank you.
Uh,
It's either your great grandma or somebody, an older lady who passed on a long time ago.
I'm listening.
Yeah. Who
in other
asked
words,
me?
no more drinking on your stomach. You're gonna hurt that little tummy you got.
I'm pretty fit.
It's
Yeah, I'm in good health.
mm, it 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 doesn't mean now. It could mean later on in life. It's just they're seeing more to the future than you are seeing now.
And it has to do with my
So
stomach?
they're looking at, they can see here and here. So they're telling me to be careful here and here.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, she's, oh, okay. I've already told her that. Okay, stop that. You don't have to do that to me anymore. Bye. You see, that's what I do.
No, that's cool. And I'll
Terry
take
knows.
it.
Terry knows that. Terry knows that I've been doing this for a little while. He knows I can do that.
So just like I'm gonna add on to that. So I do feel sometimes my only clairvoyant ability. I have a feeling when somebody's gonna die, and it's happened. I've projected it. I haven't seen my own death yet.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I'm, I guess what I'm saying, I'm confident, but I
You
like
won't see. Yeah,
I appreciate the premonition of a warning. I don't know what I will
you
change.
won't see your own death yet because it's not for you to know if it's a person, if it's something that you're worried about yourself. Another person will come and tell you, but you're not allowed to see your own death.
Yeah. Speaking of death, why do you think he- uh, people or humans are so afraid of it?
Because it's the devil you don't know. I mean, they don't know where
I
they're going to
mean,
go.
is it because, like you said, Tony? Is it because they're going to be judged?
I don't think
Uh,
so. I think it's
or
because they're not prepared. I think 99% of the population is not prepared for death, meaning they're afraid when they leave the world they didn't leave it in the right way or they didn't leave their family members in a good situation or prepared for that death. That's
Another reason why is that you're not supposed to change the future of what happens.
no,
It
that's a bad thing.
happens, it happens, and you can't change it because that's the way it is.
Oh, and so now let's go. I don't want to go off topic, Terry. You can tell me to shut up. So, Irene, on that statement, I actually have considered this because I grew up in a Baptist church, went to a Methodist college, dated several college girls, and you're bringing in a religion aspect. Do you think we are preordained on our path to how we live our lives and what's going to happen, or do you think it's changeable?
You create your own path, you create your own journey. You can change it if you want to. You can change it if you have the will to, but it's up to you.
But we just can't change anybody else's path other than helping them, which becomes our own path and theirs. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, that'll be fair.
All
But
right.
remember that there there are rules to every situation, okay? Like me, what I do, there are rules to every situation that I do. And I'm governed to protect those rules. And Terry knows it really well that what I do is like there's a line, there's there's me talking, and there's a line in between it. And I cannot cross this line
Oh,
of what I do. It's either to Terry or to you, Tony, or to anybody else who I help. There's this rule governing it. And I have to keep my mouth shut at a certain time.
no,
And that's it. And I
I,
don't do anymore. And I don't mess with it. Because if I mess with it, I can mess with somebody's future. And I don't want to do that.
and
That's
your
not up to
own,
me.
and your own, and yeah,
Yeah.
and that goes into karma rule. Like I walk the straight and narrow and try to do the right thing. And anytime, and I'm all about bending rules in the physical world.
Hmm.
But if you bend them too far, you pay a price, and it's usually
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
costly than the gain. Okay,
Yeah.
I like her, man. Yep, she nailed it.
Thank you. You know, and I'm here always to help. But if you're gonna ask me something
I
that
I know where you're going. You're at people ask you to do something to change somebody else's path that's not positive.
you
There's
know,
going to be a lot of people that pay for that. Yeah, I understand.
yeah, and you know, and if you're gonna yank my throat and ask me what happened, who did it,
You
and I
didn't.
said, I can't tell you. I'm sorry, I can't tell you. No,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do it because you know what? It could happen to me. Something could bad happen to me if I do release it. Like I know who's in the unmarked grave in Argentine Cemetery. I know him. I know his name. I know who killed Sarah um Ramsey's daughter, Sarah. What's her name? I know who killed her. I'm not going to tell you on this podcast because there's no damn way I'm going to do it. And I know who killed my friend's son. I know who killed him too. I'm not going to tell anybody either, and I'm not going to tell his. I'm not going to tell his father either. There's things that I do know that I just refuse to, but it creates a really heavy shoulder on me, and I
Terry, that should lead from some great leading questions for her. Because
don't
now,
you dare go there.
no, no, but you're bringing up a good point. Like we're, and as Terry said, we're both trying to help people, but you just said there's a line. How far can we go to help people without hurting other people or ourselves personally in doing that help? I mean, that's a powerful point. I mean, like you're talking about boundaries most people don't even understand.
Yeah.
Good point.
And do I go? Do I dare go there? Right?
Yep,
Mm, yeah, that's ugh.
that's deep.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Trust me. Oh man, I wanted to go down that road.
I know you did. That's why I said that.
Yeah, you did that to me twice, right?
See, just being around Irene, I'm
You
becoming
know
more
what Grandpa's
clairvoyant.
saying, Terry? You know, Grandpa just said to me, "Don't you dare, boy."
Oh, hold on. Let's see here.
Where's Australia at?
They say they're backstage. I'm gonna see if I can bring them in. Uh,
Oh, that's it's boiling hot here.
it's hot.
I'm just baking the heat.
No,
Turn
I
on
don't.
the
I don't.
Ooh, come on, Terry, do your mumbo jumbo, wumbo jumbo.
I'm trying, but they're not backstage. I don't see them.
I don't, I don't see them either. Oh, did you know this podcast is only on YouTube?
Hmm?
I had to sign into YouTube to get on this podcast.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, not Facebook.
Oh, that's why I'm streaming off of 3 different Facebook pages.
But the one that I got was sign into YouTube to get on this podcast, right? So I did that, and I finally got in. Like it took me a little while, right? But YouTube, okay, I'll do that. Oh, did you know this? Did you know um StreamYard and Facebook kind of changed the rules, so you can't copy paste and come in. You have to download the StreamYard on iTunes in order to get on here.
Really?
Mhm.
Somebody hacked your shit, girl.
Dang, dang, unbelievable. And I'm boiling hot here. Damn, it's so freaking hot.
You
Feels like,
don't have
how do you want your meat barbecued?
you don't have air conditioning, girl?
Oh, it's oh, it's
It's not.
probably
Listen,
like
Terry and
a
I are
hundred.
in Texas. If
Yeah,
we didn't
sorry.
have air conditioning, like our cameras would melt.
I have air
Boy,
conditioning.
I don't even want
It
to talk about this Texas heat.
Oh, yeah, yours is dry, right? Ours is
No,
soaking.
no.
No, ours is. It's nothing dry about this.
Well, it's damp, soaking wet, and it's like 100% humidity. And it's so hot, it comes right here to your face. You can feel it. Come on. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone? Hi.
Uh-uh.
Uh-oh. Terry, you need new equipment. Come on, buddy.
All right, give me a minute.
Nope, not doing that. I love to tease Terry. Penny,
Yeah. Huh?
Penny just says, throw out that shit.
What did she say?
Throw out that shit. See, I got your whole family here. My
Yeah.
house is like a. My house is different, Tony. My house, I got a window here. People say it's a portal, but I call it a window because a portal is not something where they can come in and out. It's not that. It's my window where I can open up and I can close. Where spirits, certain spirits, I allow come in here and talk to me, and they guard me. And I've got this. It's a window where the dark spirits can come through. We call them devils, okay?
Hello, Della.
They can come through here, and I got another portal here where the people who haven't crossed over come here, and my family's right here. So it's like my whole room is like a symphony orchestra, right? Hey,
Hello, Mr. Bill.
Hello, mate. Sorry about this. Um,
That's okay, man. Better
oh,
late than never.
it's
How's
it's the trouble with this time travel stuff, mate.
I understand that. I understand that.
I,
Well,
I
better late than
apologise.
never.
Oh, I'm so sorry, mate. I got my days all mixed up. I'm sorry. So
That's all right. That's all right. No problems.
that's
But better late than never. That's all.
thank
Better late than
thank you
never.
for understanding.
No problem. Now we have Mr. Tony Kane on the show,
G'day, Tony.
and we have to. Hey, you got a neighbor. Irene is not too far from you. She's in Japan.
Ah,
Uh, Miss Irene Takora,
g'day,
and
Irene.
hey, So, man, hey, welcome to the show, man. I really appreciate you answering my call. And, well, I think I called you in the middle of
Yeah,
the damn night.
I think you did, mate. I think you did. No, that's all good, mate. It was always a pleasure to be on on shows like this, mate. I really really enjoy it, and I think it's a good way to spread the word, mate. So
Right, right. Okay, well, you know what, man? This show is all about you, and we're going to talk about all things paranormal in
lovely.
Australia.
Yes,
So,
yes.
hey, tell me what's going on over there.
Mate, we've got lots going on at the moment. We actually just had a couple of your fellow countrymen over, the Kling brothers. We did a big event with them. We had about eight events over about 9 days. It was
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was crazy. So they're good friends of ours. We had them out here 10 years ago, and I've been over there to do stuff with them. So that was really fun. Yeah, it was a great event. So that was a big one. But we got lots of stuff going on. We have new locations we're running investigations at. We have a lot of plans, a lot of events coming up that we're building at the moment,
Hmm.
as well as a lot of research and such that we're conducting. So yeah,
Okay, okay, great. Now, this podcast show is about getting to know you,
okay, yeah,
what you think, scientifically, historically, uh, about all things paranormal. So,
yeah, yeah.
one
No,
thing,
I'm
one thing,
happy to answer any questions.
yeah, okay. Now, one thing about this particular podcast show, I would not ask you anything about what kind of equipment you have,
Yep,
how you uh, how you investigate. I want
all
to
good.
get to know what you think personally about what's going on in the world about the paranormal community,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
scientific aspect of it, the
yep,
historical aspect of it, and
absolutely.
all that stuff. Now, I got three of you guys are into this pretty a lot longer than I have. I'm the young buck of the show, but I'm the young buck of the show. So
uh,
the so if you guys feel free, if you guys want to ask, if when I ask Killer Bill any of the questions, feel free to jump in and give your aspect of what you think. Okay, don't be afraid to speak your mind. Okay, Bill. Oh Lord, how long have you been investigating, my brother?
um, well, actually, as of last January, I've been in the field 38 years.
That,
I did my first investigation at the age of 19, but obviously had an interest since before I can remember. So it was a long time ago, and it was back before internet and all sorts of things. So it was very different
mhm.
to the world we're in now. Yeah,
Okay. Now, I'm going to bring up several different topics, and just
for
feel
sure,
free to answer them whenever. Uh,
absolutely.
as me being a paranormal investigator, you're a paranormal investigator. Irene's a paranormal investigator,
Yep.
and Tony. Uh, what are you shaking your head for?
I'm
As,
not a paranormal.
as a paranormal investigator, the biggest problem that I have, Bill, is we're not getting the recognition that we deserve, we need at the big table.
Yep. Yep.
When I mean the big table, I mean the scientific community.
Yeah. We're
I,
still seen as a pseudoscience.
yeah, so what do we need to do to actually get a chair at that table? I mean, how much evidence do we need to present
Yeah.
to the world in order for the scientific community to say, hey, okay, we understand, we hear you guys, take this seat and join
Yep.
us.
Yeah.
Well, why do we need to do that?
For sure. There's the old saying that for a believer no proof is necessary, and for a non-believer no proof is enough. And I think the problem that we're facing is that we're worried. it's more for us. It needs to be more how we conduct ourselves. For us, it's very much got to be that we, act as professionally as we can in the field. That we are, doing everything we can. Like, there's people that are not so scrupulous as most of us. They'll trespass, they'll do all that sort of stuff. This brings the whole field down. So what, to be looked at more seriously is, I think we have to step our game up more than everyone else. So we have to become much more professional in what we do. To me, it's even not about the evidence, it's about how we do things. In the field, there's a lot of infighting, a lot of bickering and such. That needs to be knocked on the head and just focus on what we each do, and try to act as professional as we can. It is a science in a sense. It is, but it is how we present ourselves that I think is how we'll get taken more seriously. For example, we run a lot of events. So we run workshops, we do lectures and such. And what that does is that gets people in to hear what we have to say that aren't necessarily in the field, but they have an interest. And, by doing that, we're building the interest in the public eye. And I think the more we can do that, the more we can spread the word, the more we'll be taken seriously.
Okay. Now,
that's my belief. Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody want to comment on that question on the panel? Go ahead. Go ahead, ma'am.
Paranormal here is accepted to the point, but the more we talk about it, the more it's not going to work in this country. So we can forget about having workshops or anything like that, because nobody's going to listen, because they don't want to know, or they don't want to believe that it is real, and they don't want to believe that there are spirits in this world. So in Japan, it's difficult because I live in the most haunted city in Tokyo ever.
Yes.
Like, I don't have to go anywhere to see anything paranormal. I just go out my front door. Okay, there's that.
I get that.
And here they respect the dead, but you stay here, I'll go over here. I'll respect you, but that's about as far as it goes in this country.
I get that. It comes down to culture, doesn't it? There's different cultures that we have to deal with.
Yeah, and we just had the Day of the Dead here, where the dead comes home, the dead spirits comes home. They have a meal, and we send them back to where they belong.
For sure.
It's the most haunted month of the year in July, which is my birthday. Terry knows. July 16th is the Day of the Dead in Tokyo.
A happy birthday.
She turned 23, man. She's living her best life.
Good on her. Good on you.
Okay, Mr. Kane.
And I will try to answer this as scientifically possible as I can, because and I know about scientific methods and all that. To answer that question scientifically, it will never happen. We have the equipment. We can do experiments in the scientific method, but our results are never going to be concrete. Meaning, all right, so we're basically compared to a religion. You either believe the results or you don't, because we cannot prove them other than pictures, recordings, the things that we get on camera. Those aren't concrete evidence. We're not creating a pill that fixes anything. It just is what it is. We can, and
100%.
I actually appreciate you saying we can act as professional as we can, and I hope we all do, and we can gather as much evidence. But the only people that are going to believe us are the ones that have experienced what we experience, or entertained, or understand it is there, but we can't prove anything. It's like Jesus Christ.
No, I agree.
So
my other problem is that when people say, oh, we're out in the field doing everything scientifically, we're conducting experiments scientifically. the thing is, well, for one, half of us aren't scientists. We don't have that professionalism.
I, actually,
And
stop right there. We're
yeah,
all scientists. If we all
well,
have the
as
inquisitive
in
mind, we are.
exactly. No,
We
I know
don't
what you
need.
mean.
Yeah.
I'm talking about from a university point of view. But the other thing is, to run an experiment, it needs to be controlled, it needs to be repeatable, etc. So how do you do that in the field? It's almost impossible. That's and
Yeah, I
it's
sometimes I
yeah,
feel like saying, like, I there's one thing that I don't use. I don't use equipment because I don't need it. Um, this is my equipment right here, and this is right
yeah,
here. That's everything. All I need.
your body,
I don't
exactly.
like these. I don't like these lights flashing. I don't like these cat balls bumping off and saying, "Oh, thank you. Oh yeah, you answered me."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
really?
yeah,
You gotta be that stupid to believe that? That's what I
for
think.
sure.
That's where I'm coming in. That's what I'm saying. I have this really weird idea about stuff like that.
Yeah,
Equipment only confirms what I hear and what I see. I agree with that. That's one thing I agree. But
yeah,
it does not prove everything that's there and everything that I can see and everything that I can feel. And you can't put that in any equipment because it ain't gonna work as far as I'm
absolutely.
concerned. He knows
Right.
exactly what I mean.
No, I agree.
And
I agree with that.
you know,
I'm not a big equipment user as such. Camera and a voice recorder is about all I use.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
for me, when you start out, you want all the gear, you want all the equipment. It's like, it's new, it's exciting, and you go that way. But I think as you go along, you realize that for me, I find people are distracted by all the extra gear, and they miss
yeah,
so much,
hmm
out in the field.
yeah. And
Mm.
like if something uh gets thrown at you, you can't debunk it. I know that.
Yeah,
The rooms, the environment, the condition of the room,
of course.
the air conditioning of the room. There's no lights in the room. I understand that. That you can that I understand about debunking. But when things start flying in the room and you can't answer that, and there's no reason for it to be happening, you gotta take that with this grain of salt. And you gotta say
Uh,
that really happened. Holy,
that's it, exactly.
you know.
And, and
Yeah,
that's a person.
there
That's your
is
person.
something in that room, right?
Exactly. That's personal experiences, that you have, and what you've seen, what you've done. It's
Yeah,
passing that on to other people. That's the trying to get them to understand what you've seen and such. That
yeah,
becomes the
yeah.
issue, I suppose, is that we can all say things, but you need to experience it yourself half the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about environment for a minute, because a lot of people say that hauntings are. It takes a special type of environment for a haunting to actually catch the evidence that you need. Let's say if you got something, if you buy a water source, then that water is able to give the spirits some type of energy.
Yep.
If an electric storm will be able to give certain spirits in certain locations energy. Uh, are we? And most of these things they come and now, is it possible that us as paranormal investigators, we could generate some type of device that would constantly give us that electric, that field where we can actually have this type of communication and give these guys the type of energy that
Yeah.
they really want so they can actually communicate. Now we know the environment don't always does that, but if you had the money and the capability to build a device like that, would you guys do it?
Well, in the past, I mean, there's been devices such as EM pumps and things like that. People use Tesla coils. They use all sorts of things to try to build energy. In my experience, yes, in the past we used EM pumps to put them in locations, let the energy build up, then take them out while we investigate. But
Where you finna go?
what I found was that and that, as we know, electromagnetic energy (EMF) can actually affect people. It can, it can make them, it can give them symptoms, it can make them sick, it can do all this sort of stuff. And I found the EM pumps were actually affecting people during like investigations. So we don't use them anymore. We use them as just when we're doing lectures to show how, a K2 meter works, for example. We'll turn it on just to show it light up, etc. That's all we use it for now. But you can use these things. I believe you can use these things. I understand, that people do use them, but I'm pretty skeptical. I'm not skeptical. I'm cautious, I suppose, is the word, when using them, because they can affect people in different ways, and that could be misinterpreted as being affected by spirit. So, I believe if a spirit's there, they will find energy. They will find the way, whether it be from us or something around us, even from the atmosphere, that they hopefully will find a way to communicate. Unfortunately, I find them to be one affecting people is not great, and two, it can give you false positives as well. I find.
Panel, what you got?
False positives. Yeah.
I'm kind of with Irene. I am the instrument. I like using all that and seeing, what is in a certain environment with the equipment that we currently have. If I had $1 billion, would I spend it on trying to create paranormal equipment to prove stuff? Nope.
No,
I don't.
I agree.
There's a difference, Harry. You said hauntings, right? Remember, visitation and a haunting, they're two different things, right? So define haunting and define visitation, right? So a lot of places have a lot of visitation of old ancient ancestors, and the other one is the true haunting. So it depends on what it is, who it is, depends on how you deal with the situation of each one, right?
Of course.
If it's a visitation, I try to talk, open up communication lines, and ask them what they want and why they're doing this. If it's haunting, yeah, out you go, and and try to make peace with the land, the house, the environment, everything that's there. Yeah, I agree with that. But the limestone, running water, from a river, from a train tracks, and anything like that can create energy. You got thunderstorms. You got we have typhoons and what hurricanes, right? That creates that too. They come out
Of
with
course.
spits like that.
Absolutely.
So it's like everything put in a nutshell, right? You put everything in a plastic bag, you shake it up and see what you get. That's what
pretty
it is.
much. I agree with you. Like with your natural occurring energy sources, that's called, when we're starting to insert artificial energy sources. That's when we're creating environments that aren't natural, that aren't correct, in my eyes. And it's almost, for me, it's almost like trying to create evidence, in a sense. I agree with you. Running water, I mean, there's been cases many times where running water creates kinetic energy, creates all sorts of different energies that can affect sources. Actually, if you a really good story about that is if you watch a show called Ghost Lab, which is the Kling Brothers' old show, and they were at I believe it was Nutaway Homestead or Mansion in Louisiana there, and they had the Mississippi running by, and there's an embankment, and there's a 3-story mansion house. Now, all the activity for this house was happening on the top floor, and coincidentally, it was the only floor that had a view of the river.
Mm-hmm.
So the energy coming off was being blocked by the embankment apart from the top floor, and that's where the most activity was. And that was a really good that's a really good example of naturally occurring energy causing giving the energy to spirit. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, cool. Bill, 38 years, bro. 38
Yeah, man.
years you've been doing this.
Yeah.
Tell me some of your biggest paranormal influences that you had in that 30 in that 38 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I back then it was a matter of we tried to find how to do things any way we could. We read books, newspaper articles. We'd write to people, all sorts of different people. That had some sort of connection to the field. We'd anything like that. And sometimes you get a reply, sometimes you wouldn't. It was really trying to find our own way. Like, for example, the first investigation I did was in a cemetery, and I always say an attempted investigation because it didn't turn out great. We had an old video camera, we had an old cassette recorder, we had torches. I think we had one torch, and it wasn't a great torch, so we were sort of stumbling around in the dark, and that it was and we've learned from there. We've learned from there upwards. So we were using the old techniques. We were putting bells on door handles and talcum powder on the ground and all that sort of fun stuff. Trying to catch activity. So that's old. That's old school. That's how we started. But as you go through, I mean, I've got cases full of gear that I've picked up along the way. I don't, as I said, I don't use a lot of equipment myself. I like a good camera and I like a good voice recorder.
Mm-hmm.
This for me, it's the influences have come from. I'm very eclectic. I try to draw from whatever source I can get an idea from. It doesn't necessarily have to be from paranormal. It could be, something someone mentions and it sends me off on a tangent. So yeah, the influences have come from very wide and far. Yeah.
Now, would you prefer to do it the old ways, or since you do it the old ways now, or
Yeah.
would you prefer the new age paranormal investigators, the ones that are out there today doing it? Would you prefer them to do it the old ways, or would you prefer them to stick doing it to the new ways?
Yeah. Well, I think there's benefits. I think there's benefits in both. These days people understand more about, how energy works, how cameras work, how audio works. So you can look at things a bit better. But some of the old ways were, they're quite basic and quite. They were pretty much not foolproof, but they were, there was not as many variables with the old ways. For me, for example, as I said, just a basic camera and a recorder, and try to keep things simple. People have devices. I mean, for example, here I've got an Ovilus, right? And I've had, people using them, and they spend the whole investigation staring at these devices. It's for me, it's sort of, you got to say enough with the gear. Enough with the gear. You want to use the gear. Maybe set it up with a locked off camera or a static camera, to watch it, and use your eyes and use your body. Like Irene said, she uses her body. I think Tony said the same. Use your body. It gives you so much information. I got actually, if you got a second, I got a really good story about that.
Sure.
A friend of mine runs tours at an old asylum called Arradale, which is down here in Melbourne, and I used to run a tour there once a month. And take people through and do investigations and such. And I had a bunch of actual, people that were actually investigators there, and they're all looking at these gadgets, and it was actually bugging me. I was getting a bit annoyed. So we're in the women's quarters, and I said, right, okay, stop, put your gear away. I want all your gear away. Turn your torches off. We're going to stand in here for 5 minutes, and we're not going to do nothing. We're going to have a listen. We're going to watch. And I had my back. Now, talk about spirit working with us. I had my back towards the windows, so there's a line of windows, and the moon was quite bright, so it was shining in, and I had sort of people in front of me in front and a little bit on the sides and such. And I'm watching them as we're sort of standing there just listening. They're looking and looking. And then I see the ones in front of me, their jaws sort of drop open. They look like shocked. And I went, okay, stop. What happened? Something's obviously happened. What did you see? And they said they saw a female in what appeared to be an old not nursing outfit, patient's outfit, walk past 3 windows behind me. Now, I didn't see this, but these people saw it, and there was, in front of me, there was 6 or 7 people that saw it. And, so it wasn't just 1 or 2 that imagined that there was a group of people. Now, if I hadn't said to them, put their gear away and just stand here and have a look, they would have missed that completely. Now, this story is, it just seems, it was like the spirits knew what I was trying to do. And that's how, and they showed themselves. I don't know whether that's the case or not, but it was, it's one of my favorite stories, because it's the look. I didn't see the spirit, but the look on these people's faces, I know they did.
I bet.
Yeah.
Hey, the people in Australia and New Zealand, are they a little bit more open-minded towards the paranormal than uh, the people in the United States? Or
You know what? You're talking about the public. The public are coming around. I find a lot of locations. For example, you're trying to get into a historic location. The UK, the US. I find it a little bit more open to it. I can't say for New Zealand. I haven't done anything over there, but we've got friends over there, and they get around to do places. But here, you sort of got to sell yourself a lot more. You've got to you need to sort of negotiate a lot more, I find. So I would say we're probably about 20 years behind the UK, US with this sort of stuff, because it sort of started over the UK, the US, and it's filtered down to us. So we're always a little bit behind in these sort of things, unfortunately. But people are opening up. We're getting, people have a fascination for the paranormal. Yeah, so the general public, yes. The locations, well, we're working on that. So,
okay, the one thing that us in America, our biggest problem, and I'm pretty sure you guys can agree with me, it's not who who investigates, it's how we investigate, like we were
right.
saying earlier. Now, some of the people, okay, now the generation today aren't always as open-minded as the generation of our era.
Yep.
They want to do things a little bit different,
Yep.
so you have you know their influencers. If it's not a Pacific YouTuber, somebody out of
Yeah.
Hollywood that's
Yeah.
that are influencing not just 10 million people. Hell, it could be up to 50 million people.
Yeah. I understand that.
So what do you say about these new age paranormal investigators that are not willing to take that long journey like we took when we first started out?
Everyone's in a rush these days. Yeah, everyone wants to be, and that's actually a big bugbear of mine. Like, spend your time, build your base, build your knowledge, get experience. You know what I mean? You have people coming in the field now that have watched, not saying anything against anyone, but watched a couple of episodes of Ghost Adventures, and they think they know how to run an investigation. And they're doing public investigations, like I spent 20 years in the field before I started doing anything with the public. As in, it's to build a strong base. To me, it's always, take your time, build your base. There's plenty of time out there, and the thing is, when it comes down to it, and spiritually, I suppose, if something goes wrong, you need to have an understanding of how these things work. Whether it be someone gets affected, or anything like that. But also, you need to have an understanding of, general matters, like how to keep people safe during an investigation physically, like on an occupational safety level, occupational level. There's a whole lot more than just running out there with torches and gadgets and going into a location. As I said, trespassing. These guys might, are they getting proper permissions? Are they following the protocols that we all follow? That we try to follow. We all have our individuals, but in general, I'm speaking in general terms, but we all are trying to do the right thing, and keep this field safe, keep it building.
There's
So yeah,
one thing I agree with you there, but
Sorry?
don't bite off more than you can chew. If
Exactly.
you can't handle it, don't go there, and because you're gonna get your ass whipped by
Exactly.
either a spirit or an entity. Like if you can't handle it, don't do it. And if you don't have the capability in here to do it, don't do it. Like, leave it to the people who can do it, especially when it comes to residentials. Okay, I had a person, who called me and said, "I got the demon in my house." I said, "No, it's not. Let me take a look. Let me take a look." And I took a look, and I said, "No, there's only 30 spirits in your house. It's okay. I can take care of it."
Yeah.
They had another person. They had another group come in. They made a freaking mess of the whole dang thing, and I had to fix their mess and do what I had to do, which was only a 3-hour job, made it a 6-hour job for me.
Yeah.
And I said, "Damn you, bunch of..." But I used to bleep, right? And I was so mad. And I was so mad. I mean, I could have, but no.
Yeah, you want to strangle
them?
I've had the same. Don't worry. I had one just recently, and the lady contacts me in tears. I've got to sell my house. I'm selling my house because I've got demons in it. I said, well, let me come and have a look. And someone else had gone out there and told her she was cursed, and these demons, and there was all sorts of things. Oh, literally. And this poor woman, she was a mess. So I went out there, took one of my sons with me. They're all my family are involved, and we sorted it out with her. And it wasn't anything like that. You know what I mean? It's unfortunately these people don't know what they're doing, and they don't understand the consequences of what you say to people. They say they have experience. They say they have experience, but they don't.
80-year-old lady. What if it was her? What if she had a heart attack?
Exactly.
Because of what somebody said.
Exactly.
And isn't it their responsibility for saying something stupid to her because of that?
Nah, I get that. I get that completely.
Man, I mean,
it's frustrating.
I could crucify that. You could crucify that group for saying that. You stupid.
100%.
And it is a product of the new age. I don't know what are the Gen Y, Gen whatever they are. Like, they're all about attention. They've got a page or a platform, and they're going out and doing this for attention. And it's just going to take one time for them to shit their fucking pants for it to go south, like really bad. So they're basically playing with fire and don't know. So you guys are not. They're playing with fire. They don't know what they're doing, and they're doing more harm than the good they think they're doing, and the attention they're getting.
And you know what? They're charging people $50 to $100 to come to their home to do this. I said,
we don't
really.
We don't charge. We don't charge for this work.
No,
this is all,
I don't charge either.
No, this is all just helping people. I mean, how do you charge? For me, how do you charge someone? It's a spiritual thing. You know what I mean?
That's a palm reader, dude. That's a palm reader.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the other thing I've noticed is everyone's a demonologist these days. Everyone is, they've done a $20 course online or something, and they're a qualified demonologist. not putting anyone down, but study.
No.
Study. Spend your time and speak to the right people, and do that sort of stuff. Because that's how you get experience. That's how you get experience. Get out there
Yeah.
and do with the people that have gone before you, the ones that have made the mistakes, and learned. So, yeah.
You say, yeah. People say, yeah, I'm an ordained minister. Okay, my cat can be an ordained minister too.
Yeah.
I just go online, but
Exactly. If you pay
you know,
$20
I'm like,
online, you can become an ordained minister as well.
Right.
100%.
So, what do
oh
we need to
God,
do, guys?
give
I
me a
mean,
break, really.
I
I
mean,
love it.
there,
I love it.
there's got to be something that we can do because, like I tell people, every team that comes on my podcast, uh, the foundation is starting to crack. These
Yeah.
new kids are cracking the
Mhm,
foundation for what they're doing and how they're doing
mhm,
it. A foundation that's been set, before the paranormal investigators before us,
Yeah.
which
mhm.
was, the Warrens and
Yeah,
Kolchak
yeah.
and all those other guys that
Kolchak.
are.
Yeah.
Hey, that's kind of before your time, ain't it? I got you on
No,
that
I
one.
love Kolchak, man. Love Kolchak. I grew up.
I
I grew
love
up with
Kolchak
Kolchak,
too.
brother.
That was my favorite show.
Hey, I'm old. I think I'm older than all you guys put together. Anyway, so
No, I'm older than you.
what was that?
I'm older than
I'm
all
older
y'all.
than
Quit
you.
playing.
Hey, mate.
I'll cut it out, Terry. I'm older than you too. You know that.
You know what? I always say, because people talk about paranormal unity and things like this. I believe there's not going to ever be paranormal unity because you've got so many different people. There's always going to be arguments. But all we can do is build ourselves and build our circles
Yeah, you
to
did.
be the best we can be, to be the most professional we can be. And therefore, the people we work with, we lift them as well, and they lift us. And, you know, by doing that and making ourselves available to guide people, not saying we're better than everyone else or anything like that, but it's
No.
experience. You've been around a lot longer than a lot,
Yeah.
and you've made mistakes. You know, hey, buddy, don't. This is what you don't do because I've done it and it was a mistake. Don't do it.
Me?
That sort of
I
thing.
don't make a mistake.
We've all done it. You know what I mean? We've all done it. That's how we
the
learn.
biggest the biggest problem that I have in the community is everybody's is in a box.
Yep.
Everybody's in a box. At what point are we going
Mhm,
to start? The only way I think, because if you're in that box, everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
everybody's competing with each other.
Yeah.
So if you step outside that box and start doing things different,
Yep.
that's where it won't be as competitive as it is, and people are willing to learn
Yep.
because you're doing something different and you're thinking
mhm.
outside of that box.
I see
You
what I
know
see
what
what
I'm
you're
saying?
saying. The
So
thing is what you
Yeah,
realize, but when you've been around a long time,
yeah.
a long time, is that a lot of people are, especially I suppose now, the last 5-10 years, a lot of people are out to make a name for themselves. They all want to have. Everyone wants to have it. They all want to
Uh-huh.
have a TV show. They all want to have some sort of recognition, if you know what I mean. Um, like
Mhm,
that, some sort of,
mhm.
look at me, I've got a TV show, or look at me, of this or that. Um, and unfortunately, that needs to change. That idea of, you know, uh, doing it to become famous, or doing it to get a TV show is
Yeah.
not the right reason for doing what we do. And I'm not
right,
sure how we. I'm
I
not sure
think
how we
another
change
thing
that.
also. I think and also thing too is that you're there. If it's a client, you're there for the client. I don't
Absolutely.
care if you don't like me. I don't like Terry and I had we come across the same problem. Remember, Terry, in that one investigation, you brought me in, and they left. The people
yeah,
left.
yep,
I said, it has nothing to do with me. What you
Mm.
think of me, I don't. Okay, if you don't like
Yep.
me or not, we're there for the client.
Yep.
We're there to help him. It has
Yep.
nothing to do with you or me or them and me. I don't
Exactly.
care. Let's work
Yep.
together. Let's help this client so this client can have a more peaceful house so he can live in it
Exactly.
and not worry about the dogs barking because the dog sees something, right? And
Yep.
that's what Terry and I came to an agreement about it. Like, let's work together. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you have problems with me in the past. Who gives a shit? Who gives a rat's ass? I was going to say. But yeah, let's work together. Like, you work your side, I work my side. I'll do what I do. You do what you do.
Yeah.
And we'll all come together and find the right one solution, right? And,
Exactly.
and the fact that they left and they didn't tell Terry that they left, and Terry goes, what? Like this, like he was saying, like he was saying all kinds of A B C D E F words, right?
Yep.
Because they left, and I was saying, right, okay,
Yeah.
so much for the client, right? So much for the
Exactly.
poor little client that had these people who left on them, right?
No, just
Wow.
just one moment, guys. Ring Michael, and he's allowed to come over. Just organise. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and actually,
you know,
to add on to that, like, and you weren't on at the beginning, but we, like, I made a sale, like, I'm in sales, and I made a like comparison of this, like, back to the original point. How do we do this? So, in my world, I build my client base, and my business grows on referrals. So you get
Yes.
these new kids out there, and they're fucking shit up, and you build your client base, and they run into somebody like, hey, why are you dealing with them? Why don't you go to Terry and Tony? And these
Yep.
guys know what they're doing. They don't charge a fee, and they're here to help. They're not here to
Yep.
monetize. And I think that's how you build it. It's old school. It takes a lot
Oh,
longer, but
it's
using
real.
social media and referrals and getting hits on, hey, these guys do it the right way, the old school
Yeah.
way. I think that's how we build it, Jared.
I agree. That's a good way to do it. The difference is, you're people that like yourselves and you know us and such. We're there to help people. We're not there to make a YouTube video.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And to get numbers on YouTube. We're there to help people. And that's
Right.
the difference.
Now, how do you exactly you? I mean, because
Mm-hmm.
to be honest with you guys, dude, I don't, I can't blame this all on the YouTubers
Oh,
because
yeah.
because if you look at
Yeah.
history, the YouTubers have been doing this a lot longer than most paranormal
Mm-hmm.
investigators, and most of them, I can honestly say, aren't
I
getting
like that,
paid.
but
Yeah.
I still can't say anything what I do.
Well,
Not in
yeah.
this country.
Yeah.
So we can't blame the YouTubers
It's
on certain
I,
things.
yeah. I don't think it's you. I think it's just YouTubers. I think what the point is that it's social media in general is that some people are doing it for the likes and doing it for the
Attention.
the recognition of that rather than actually trying to help someone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I find it very difficult when people they'll go to a location just to a person who's having issues, but they're only there to investigate that. They don't offer any sort of solution or try to offer any sort of solution or try to help find someone that can provide a solution. You need to have there needs to be an end game to what we do. Like, when we're helping people, it's not there just to do the investigation, to film it, etc. We're there to help the person, forget filming,
Right.
forget, all that sort of stuff. Focus on helping the client.
Right, right. Now, Bill, now says helping the client. Have you guys ever came across an investigation where the client thought it was something paranormal, but it was something of a mental state for
Absolutely.
the potential
Absolutely.
client? And how did
100%.
you go about figuring that out?
Okay. Well, I have, for example, my wife is she's a registered nurse. She's worked all over the field. She's very, very experienced. She's worked in mental health. We also do what we
You're
call
getting a lot of static.
I'm sorry. That better? Is that any better? Sorry, guys. Can you hear
No,
me?
you're clear to me.
Yeah. Um, so we also our team do what's called a mental first aid course,
Mm-hmm.
which gives people a psychological first aid course. So what that gives is you an understanding of mental health issues, if you haven't had that experience. So we can't, obviously we can't diagnose, we can't, do anything like that. But what we can do is recognize symptoms. For example, I just had a client recently who was, I won't go into the details, but she did have mental health issues. She said it herself. Um, and part of what she was experiencing, I recognized as being a symptom of a disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked her, I said, look, before we go any further, I need you to speak to your caregiver, your person who looks after you, whatever, doctor or psychologist, whatever, and tell them you're having these issues, and we'll see what happens from there. So, they did go along, and they did mention that, and then there was adjustments made, and it seems like she's okay now, but it was part of a mental health issue. But I mean, many times we've seen it, and we just try to guide the person to get help that they might need.
Now, would you say you've had more mental cases than actual paranormal cases, or would it be the other way around?
Oh, that's a good question. No, I would say probably less. It's more likely the person, and you guys probably experience the difference as well, but it's more likely that what the people are experiencing is less than what they're saying.
Mm,
Like when you said they ring you up, I got a demon in my house, but it's old Auntie Mary who's just come down for a visit, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I find that more often that the people there's not an exaggeration. It's see, because as humans, as you know, we fear what we don't understand. So
right.
what we can't rationalize, we fear, and we usually go to the worst case scenario. So our fear pushes in that direction. So you know I find that's probably the bigger problem in the field, is that yes, there is something going on, minor, but it's built into something much bigger.
And
Okay.
I'll add to that. It's way more paranormal. Like
Yeah.
I've dealt with mental health. Those
Yep.
people don't want to let people know that they have mental issues, and if
Yep.
they're seeing things and
Mm.
they don't
Yep.
understand it, they are
Yep.
less likely to reach out to have someone come over and investigate.
Yep.
It-
Yep. Fair enough. Yep. Get that.
My friend had her. She has an extra amount of people living in her home. Her kids create so much negative energy
Okay.
that her daughter's sharing spirits in the house. But I'm saying, you know what? If you stop your shit, it's gonna calm down.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
bring it with you.
You
It's
you
your
attract.
friggin' baggage that you bring with you. And if you
Yep.
want to fight elsewhere, but don't
Yep.
fight in your mother's house, right? And I tell my husband a lot of times, like if you start arguing, you create a
Negative
monster in
energy.
your home.
Yep.
What you don't know what you create, right? And
Yep.
I told like this, I don't want that here. You want to argue? Go outside. Don't bring it in your home, and don't say anything. Don't use any loud noises. Don't do anything like that, and especially don't whistle at night.
Yeah.
That's nothing. It's a no-no. Um,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
That's a.
I get ye rules in my house, right? And yeah, it just you just have to like use it up here, you
Yeah.
know. Like,
Yeah.
eh, and you want everything positive in your realm. You don't want anything negative, and you don't want anybody screaming or yelling or saying stupid stuff to anybody else. No, that's not gonna work with me. Sorry, you're gonna do that. Do it outside. Don't do it in my house, right?
okay.
Yeah, but
And
mental
kids
health can't
arguing
control
and
that.
fighting, bickering constantly all the time creates that energy that you don't want, right?
Yep.
Right. Now,
Very true.
yeah, Bill. Tony, I think me and you talked about this last week. Irene, I don't think I've ever talked to you about this particular subject. And I think I caused a big debate over some of the teams that were on my show a couple of weeks ago, but I'm just speaking from my heart.
Yep.
A lot of people believe that skinwalkers are affiliated with Native Americans.
Right.
Now, there's no, and I think Tony's had, we've had a discussion over this. I don't think there's actually been any, uh, man, it, to be honest with you, I don't think there's been any proof in that. I mean, is it possible that a skinwalker isn't paranormal? A skinwalker can be something cryptic. Now, people say cryptic and paranormal are the same, or you could put them in the box also.
Yep.
But when you have something that's been unidentified, that's been on this planet for 1,000 years, and
Mm.
we've just never seen it,
Mm.
how can we call it a skinwalker when we truly don't know what it is?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and if that's the case, how can we c- put it with the Native Americans? Now, the Native Americans might have known about it because they seen it, but doesn't mean that it's something that it's a skinwalker.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. I think I do. You know what? The
Well,
skinwalkers. I mean, I'm
you
not.
have Aboriginals there in your country, right? I think there are. I think it's like are they have a belief system that is more closer to the Native American thinking than others, right? So, like, who's to say, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you look, like, I mean, there's 2 points there. One is, skinwalker. Is it, is it a something that we just don't understand, like a Bigfoot, or we call them a Yowie in Australia?
Mm-hmm.
Are they natural or are they supernatural? It's that question. It's like, if you look back in England, back, in like the 16th century, there was a legend of black swans. People didn't believe they existed because they only saw white swans until one day a
Mm-hmm.
black swan turned up. Then, yeah, okay, well, they're real. So, but I think the skinwalker is a bit different to like a Bigfoot or in the sense that I think it, from what I know a little bit about it, not a lot, in the sense that it's isn't it like it's created, they're sorcerers or something like that, or they're created by killing a loved one or something along those lines, if I'm recalling it correctly. To me, that's not a natural thing. To me, that's an unnatural thing. So in that case, it would, for me, fall into the realm of, something other than the normal. So something paranormal, something different.
Well,
But that's just
now,
that's my belief. I don't understand
right
enough about them.
now, I mean, just because you haven't seen something doesn't
Yeah.
mean it don't exist. I
No,
mean,
no, no. Yeah.
well, I mean, people didn't see a Black Panther. I mean, people
Yeah.
always saw Panthers, but when they
Yeah. Yeah.
saw a
Yeah.
Black Panther, what
Yep.
did they think?
Yep. My
Yeah.
point is more how it's created. Or a Black Panther is natural. It's created by mum and dad panther, making a baby.
Yeah.
But a skinwalker isn't to me, from what I understand, it's not created naturally. Does that make
Are
sense?
you sure about that?
Well, from legend, I don't know how much. I'm only telling you what I know.
Right,
What
right.
the legend is supposedly, and I know one of the ways that you can create, a skinwalker. I believe, and again, I don't know enough about it. Was that they have to kill or sacrifice a loved one, and it's something to do with sorcery and things like that. So that, to me, that's not natural. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's not like
Well, to be, and I think I could be wrong, but skinwalkers are supposedly Native American braves. And Irene, you might think I'm. Let me know if I'm wrong on this. Native American braves that had passed on, which were put in a certain place to protect certain lands,
Okay, I haven't heard that.
uh,
Yeah.
and were able, and like, uh, let's say Indian reservation or a Indian cemetery. There was, made to protect things like
Okay.
that. But yet, I can't, I can't look anywhere that has undeniably accuracy that Native skinwalkers and Native Americans are both affiliated with each other.
Right.
I
I
mean,
I I don't know. I don't know enough about it, matey. Only
I
what
don't know.
I've sort of read a little bit about, and yeah, I can't make an informed comment, obviously. Uh, yeah, but I find it
Tony,
interesting. I mean, the American sort of anything that's sort of any legends, I
hmm
find interesting. On but how they're created, I can only tell you what I've sort of heard. And as I said, I don't know enough about them to
right.
comment.
I mean, that's just like me. If I was to see a Komodo, and I've never even heard of them,
Yeah,
man, can you imagine what I would think
yeah,
that thing was?
absolutely, absolutely. But I think with anything, it's how they're created is, whether they're a natural or an unnatural being. So, you know, depends on how, as I said, depends on how big, like how's Bigfoot created? Is it created because a male and a female Bigfoot have a baby? To me, that's a natural. But when something's created spiritually, maybe, or unnaturally, I'm not sure what the word would be. It's a little bit different. It's not a naturally occurring thing. So, um, yeah, that's just just as my comments, my thoughts. So, yeah.
Okay, because I thought you guys might have something like that to a sort over
Oh,
there.
in Australia, we have a lot of things. I mean, the Aboriginals have their own spiritual entities. We have things like bunyips, which are water dwelling, and they come out and they supposedly take cattle and take people. We have the Yowies, which are our Bigfoot, and I believe they exist because I've got a very good friend of mine who's sort of guy who whenever he talks it's always true. You know what I mean? And he's
hmm
had he this is one of the things he investigates, and he actually some of the experience he's told me. Um, yeah, really, really interesting and quite scary at times. But cryptos are not really my strong point. I know a little bit about them, but not a lot.
Okay. One thing about the United States, and I can honestly say here in Texas,
Yep.
there's a lot of urban legends.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there's an urban legend around the street corner. I mean, you go
yeah,
down there, somebody would tell you something different.
yeah, for sure.
They saw this, they saw that. What is Australia's biggest urban legend except for the Bigfoot?
Well, we we always tell tourists, and it's not a real thing. We tell tourists to watch out for drop bears, right? Animals that'll drop out of a tree and attack you, right?
Oh, well, hell, that
So
sounds like a koala bear.
yeah, well, if you know koala bears, we tell people they're drop bears. It's a joke, it's an in joke. But
Uh,
if you look into it further, there was actually a creature called the Carnifex, um, which was like it's a cross between a cat, a panther, a koala, or a kangaroo, a whole mix of things that actually existed, and they used to they believed their method of attack was to actually drop from like trees onto their prey. So maybe that's where the legend come from. So of a drop bear. So it's you never know. But we have things, as I said, like bunyips, which are a mythical creature that come out of, we call them billabongs or water holes. That will come out and attack prey. There's legends of giant serpents. There's a lot of crypto creatures, for want of a better word,
Mm.
in Australia. Yeah,
Okay. Now, do you guys? Because I know a lot of countries have a lot of historic and super unnatural locations. Like Japan has the rainforest.
yep,
I think Canada have. I can't think of the name of that damn lake up there. Uh, United
yeah,
States, we have different locations.
yeah, yep,
What kind of locations you guys have that people want to veer and stay away from?
for sure. There's a lot of locations that are, I suppose, that we try to steer away from, that are sacred to the Aboriginals. They're protected, well, supposedly protected by their spirit entities. A lot of them are in the outback, which is out, sort of look like deserts and things like that.
Hmm.
There are locations closer in where there's a lot of stories. Like, for example, there is a place called Hanging Rock in Victoria, here where I live, and it's this big legend about girls that have gone missing, and people are worried when they go there. They sort of worry about going missing. They're not sure what's happened, and the problem is that that's all untrue. That that hasn't happened, right? That was actually a book that was written about 120 years ago about a group of schoolgirls that went on a picnic and went missing at this rock, and then they made a movie about it, and then everyone from then on, everyone was took it on as face value that it was a true story. And that's how these things start in a lot of my in my thoughts, is that
Hmm.
people believe what they see on these movies and these TV shows. I always have a saying that Hollywood has a lot to answer for, um,
Oh yeah.
especially where you're concerned with demonic and things. But yes, no, we do have locations that are considered sacred, and where you really shouldn't go to, because they're still considered sacred by the Aboriginals.
Mm, okay. Uh, this is a question for the panel, and I want you guys to just tell me what you think. Starting with you, Irene. Uh, why do you think spirits are, you know, how can I say the word? Why do you think spirits are more physical when they want to get your attention? I mean, spirits, if they really want to get your attention, they'll throw something off the shelf, they'll knock something down. I mean, why do you think that is instead of the opposite? Damn, take out a damn trash can, take the trash out, do something.
I'll, I'll, an- I'll answer.
I mean, there's other ways that you can that you guys that spirits can acknowledge that they're there besides being so damn destructive.
I'll
Because
answer that.
people
Why
are
is
being so dumb stupid. Because people are doing stupid things. That's why. And the more dumber you are, the more dumber you get. If you didn't do such stupid stuff, they will get so friggin' upset about it, right?
Yeah, but some spirits aren't upset and they still do some crazy stuff.
Terry, it's all about attention. They want you to know they're there. They want
Yep.
your attention, and
Uh,
if you're not paying attention, they want to make their presence known. That's the simplest version of why that happens.
if
And
that's the case,
if you do something that they don't like, they're gonna tell you.
if that's
Yeah.
the case, take the damn trash out, clean the bathroom, wash your damn, clean up the rooms. If you really want to get my attention, why not do something positive instead of making a damn mess all over the place where I have to clean it up?
Because They,
It,
they,
it, it, it's definitely a two-way street. Am I right?
no, I mean, if they take out your trash and
I-
do your dishes, you may not notice it. If they break some of your shit, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck, dude?" And then, hey,
yeah,
now you guys are engaging.
Boy,
that's true.
there is no way I would not notice a bag of trash walking out the front door.
Yeah,
You
but
know what?
you
I
you
just
might you
heard.
might have think you drank a half a bottle of scotch and did it yourself and
Yeah,
didn't know it was
it's
you or
true.
someone else.
Yeah, and you know,
There is
I just
no
heard
It was
from
a
way.
the
good
spirit. They
Saturday
said,
night.
"That's your damn trash. You take out your friggin' blank trash. Why should I take out your damn trash?" That's what I'm hearing
Uh,
from them.
Fair enough.
but the thing is, there's got to be other ways where they can acknowledge that they're there besides being so man, destructive.
No,
I,
It's
not if you're not
that,
sensitive to it.
yeah.
If you don't have sensitivities and they want to get your attention and you can't feel their presence or hear them, they knock some of your shit over, you're gonna turn your head and be like, "What the fuck?" And now they got your
Yeah.
attention.
yeah.
Okay, well, if they got my attention, then they should clean up their mess.
Well,
Hey, they didn't
It's
do it. They didn't do it. You did it. Because okay, let's turn the tables. Okay, because you didn't listen, because you didn't see it, they had to do that to make you aware that they're around, right?
But is that always the case?
No, not
it,
always.
and they're not always destructive, but
yeah, exactly.
you just got to keep your eyes open. I mean, I had, for example, I had a my sister's father-in-law. When he passed away, he was a worker. He was out construction and such. When he passed away, they used to come in and find that his work boots would turn up right next to the lounge chair he used to sit in, was always put there. Like like he came home, took his boots off, and sat down.
Yep.
And it was, yeah, it was that sort of example. That it can be quite subtle. If you weren't thinking, you just think that you put the boots there, but um, if you're putting them back every time and they end up coming back, it's an example that they're still around. So
Yep.
yeah,
I tell you what,
Seriously, I have to
they
tell you,
need
I
to.
got kicked off of this podcast because I had something in my head that I was going to tell you, but they got mad at me and they said, "Don't talk about it if I won't."
okay.
Okay, was
So,
it
but it had
somebody on the? Huh?
it had to do with the dead spirits didn't want me to talk about it because can I talk about it? Is that okay? Please let me talk about. Okay. Um, my friend lives on a huge chunk of land. Her land is full of Native American spirits. They lived on the land. They died on the land. She has a cryptic creature living on her land. My friend and I, we have the same necklace that has an eyeball. Okay, he didn't like it. He tried to yank her, pull off her necklace, and then dragged her 15 feet on the grass. Her legs were all scratched up. Her neck was all bruised up because he tried to grab her necklace off her neck. He still lives there. He comes in and out. I think he has a portal where he comes in and out. But he is one SOB. And we can't catch him. We could see him every once in a while. And she's quite charity, okay? Um, there are things that happen on her land that we can't talk about. There's things on her land that we can talk about. But her land has a lot of things. Spirits are in the trees or on the ground. You just know it. You can feel it. But if you talk negative about somebody that you don't like, you're gonna come after that person seriously. But
Interesting.
it
Mm.
it's she's my, like I said, she's my understudy. I for what I know, and she's my student. She's very tuned into what I do. She knows exactly what I do. She sees it. She learns it. But she's really good at it. and she has a shaman spirit who died. He helps me, and he'll help both of us. And I ask him, what do I need to do to cleanse this person, to heal this person? And he'll tell me what to go ahead and do it. But it's this whole land house is very mystique. Very, you have to be very careful about what you say and so on. You have to be very respectful because they can hear you. I know it because I can hear them too. Um, so that was what I was going to talk about when I got kicked out.
Interesting. Okay.
And you know what? She's one of my best friends. We talk about everything together. We do everything together. She sends me care packages because there's stuff that I can't get. Only she can get from America. So she sends me huge boxes, and it's something that I can understand for her. I can relate to her. Um, there's so much that we don't know, but I'm learning off of what is on her land, and I'm learning from her. And there's we don't have room to make a mistake. We have only one chance to do it right, so we do it that way. Um, always have to think about what I'm doing, what choices I have, what it concurs to, what it accounts to. So if we're talking about skinwalkers, you could bet she's got one on her land too.
Interesting. Okay.
So
You know,
I just want to say that, get that over. Sorry, I said it. Okay, I'm done. Okay.
okay. All right, guys. Three more questions, and I'm gonna let you guys get out of here. Bill,
Yes, mate.
man, uh, I'm 20 years older than you. It's a
You
good
what? Sorry?
chance. I'm 20 years older than you.
Yeah, I don't think so, bro.
Hold on. It's a good chance I might not see the next generation
Yep.
of paranormal technology
Yep.
and the next paranormal investigators that
Yep.
are young now that was going to take our place when it's our time to go. Now, the
Yes.
question I have for you is, what do you think the next paranormal investigator is going to be like, and what kind of equipment do you think these guys are going to have?
Well, that's a big question. Look, I have, if I took from my point of view, I have five children, all pretty much grown up. Youngest is 15, sorry, just turned. Um, they're all in the field. They all have worked with me or are doing their own. They have worked with me at some point. I've so they're the next generation, and I've taught them to use their own sensors very much compared to the equipment. So I'm hoping that they have a balance between their own sensors and the available gadgets. Now,
Hmm.
I also work with a gentleman who runs a company that builds this sort of gear here in Melbourne, and he's a good friend of mine, and his gear is really good. And now, I know I don't use a lot of gear, but his gear is very good. So I'm looking, I'm seeing things that he's developing, and I can't talk about them obviously because they're still in development. That are basically set and go. So you set them, you go and do your own thing, and they record everything. So that's what I'm hoping the gadgetry will be more like. Like
Hmm.
for example, when you use a melmeter, it records the highest rate. You can have it record the highest reading, etc., etc. That sort of stuff. So whether the gadgets they're using are recording their findings, so that the person or the investigator can use their own sensors. That's what I'm hoping they will become.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
all right, great.
Terry,
Now,
Terry, can I ask Bob one question?
sure, go right ahead.
Bob, do you have many UFO sightings in Australia?
Oh yeah, for sure. We have a big. UFO community that I work with as well, and we do have quite a lot of sightings and
Do they come out on
interactions.
particular reason or an event that makes them come out?
Possibly. I'm again. It's not my field of expertise. For what I'm not saying I'm an expert in anything, but my field of knowledge is probably better. But there are some things that I know do get them more active. For example, have you heard of an organization called CE5? Stephen Greer, that sort of stuff. We have them over here. Those guys, they're interesting. They use mediums and they use lasers and things to make communications. And I'm good friends with a couple of them, and they do have some really interesting interactions when they do that. But in general, it is quite active. And I mean, I've had my own witnesses, my own experiences with seeing things, and it does happen. So yeah, we do have a lot of interactions, but probably similar to what you guys have over there. I imagine. I mean, I know you guys have a lot in the States, and I know even Japan. I know there's quite a bit of UFO activity. Yeah,
we get every time there's a bad earthquake, right?
Yes,
they come running out.
Yep.
Either I don't know if they're in the ocean or they're in the mountains. They come out every major earthquake we have.
Yep.
So people don't look down. People look up in the sky now.
Yeah. I believe that they do have bases on Earth, and I believe there are, from not what I've experienced, but what I've been informed by people that I trust, that there are bases in several mountain ranges here, and bases in the water as well, in the ocean and the sea.
Because
whether
it's like after the Fukushima and the one that happened on Japan's seaside.
Yep.
It man, they were right there near the power plant.
Oh yeah. Crazy.
And they were just hovering over there, and everyone could say, "Look at that!" Right?
Yeah.
And it's just like every time, like we have a couple American bases here. Okay,
yes.
The Navy and the Marines are here, and they're all over the place. They're flying like you wouldn't believe. It's just like unbelievable. Like
they're always watching, aren't they? I think.
Yeah.
I believe.
Oh yeah, and it's really weird because we have a lot of places here that have stones that are in the
whole
air.
new podcast. Whole new podcast.
We have stones that float in the air.
Moving on. I'll get into that.
It always have a tendency to go that route at the end of the show. Bill, do you think AI would have a big part to play 30 years from now?
Yeah.
As far as paranormal investigating?
Possibly. I think obviously it's developing, it's changing, it's being used everywhere now. It's I'm not sure how. I'm not expert enough to hazard a guess as to how, but I believe it will. I'm seeing it being used in a lot of areas, and from developing computer programs to all sorts of things. So I believe that possibly in the future, in some way, that AI could definitely be a part of paranormal. Again, I don't know how. It could be used as in part to develop equipment. That if we're talking of equipment, it could be part in use of developing equipment, possibly programming. It might even be used in analysis in some way. I'm sure you could develop there could be a AI program developed to analyze anomalies and such like that. Possibly. I mean, that's just something to think about. What do they say? Never say never, because we don't know what's coming.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's not Skynet, we're good.
Exactly. It looked like that. Yeah, it looked like that recently, but didn't it?
As long as it's not Skynet, we're good.
Yeah,
all right, Tony. Last question, man, and it's a hard one, and I want you to really think about it. Uh,
I wanted the last question, but I'll take this one.
Last question of the night is Bill. Everybody has a bucket list. Where would you like to go on your bucket list to investigate anywhere in the world?
That is a hard question.
Yeah.
Um, so, and I don't. I mean, I know the stories from the movies and documentaries, but those haunted forests. I'd like to walk through those forests 'cause as a Boy Scout and a black belt, and having to train in the middle of the woods and getting
What you gonna?
lost with a
What you,
blindfold and learning how to get out. I'd
you gonna?
love to experience that paranormal and deal with it and find my way out safely. That would be my
Come,
answer.
come. We're
Nice,
having a
nice.
thing in October. You should come. We're going.
All right, I'm gonna hold you
My
to that.
wife wants to come over to Japan there and visit the forests.
We're
Yeah.
Yeah.
going in October.
What was that? Sorry.
We're going in October.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
I'm dragging Harry. I'm dragging Terry to the forest.
Nice, nice.
My
But you know
baby.
what? And I'll be honest with you. Hey, they ain't never seen a brother in the forest, so they ain't gonna know how to react.
You never know.
I'm just letting you know. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You ain't never seen a brother in the forest,
that's
so
that's
they
that's
ain't
funny.
gonna know how to react. All
That's
right,
funny.
Bill.
That's funny. All
Where
right,
would you
mate.
like? Where would you like to go on your bucket list? Anywhere.
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, I actually got to fill a couple on my bucket list, like Gettysburg. I've been there a couple of times, which is great. I love that place. But um, I'd love to spend just on my own, just to get locked in Alcatraz for the night.
Mm,
I
Ooh.
reckon that would
mm.
be interesting. Apart from that, uh, Tower of London, all these major sort of locations, I suppose.
Mhm.
Um, that would be just a me and my camera and my voice recorder and spend the night there. That'd be awesome.
Now, would you want to spend the night in Alcatraz with or without air conditioning?
Without what? Sorry, air
Would
conditioning.
you?
Oh, I
Terry,
I, I would
Terry, cut
prefer
it
air
out.
conditioning. Uh,
Would you prefer the air conditioning?
we're in winter at the moment, mate. We got the fires going and everything. So,
Oh wow. Okay.
No,
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
dude, you go there without air conditioning because if they're spirits, they're going to cool that motherfucker down a
yeah.
lot.
That's true. Yeah. Do your thing. Do your thing. Come on, cool, cool. Give me
cool
some
that.
cold spots.
Right. Right. Give me some
Absolutely.
cold spots. All right. Well, you know what, Mr. Bill? It has been a pleasure
Yes,
speaking with
sir.
Oh,
you.
it's
Uh,
been awesome
it has
talking to
been
you guys.
very interesting. Hey, tell the world how to get a hold of you if they ever in Melbourne,
Oh,
Australia.
sure. Well, my team's the Australian Paranormal Society. If you jump on Facebook, probably the easiest way. We got our page up there. Jump on Messenger, send me a message, say good day, and let me know when you're going to be over and visiting. So we definitely have a lot of spots we can get you to, and a lot of tours and different people. And if you're into the paranormal, yeah, jump on board. Um, or jump on my wife's site. My wife's site's Haunted Old and Beautiful by Amanda APS. She's a bit of a legend. She works in cold cases with the police. So she's
Ooh.
Oh,
she's a whole that's a
wow.
whole nother program.
Yeah, I could. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. You
yeah.
know, hell, I just ate a couple of cold sandwiches earlier.
Oh, come on, Terry.
Now you're making me
Yeah,
hungry.
right. All right. Well, you know what, man? It has been a pleasure speaking with you. I wish I could have got the rest of the team on
That's
so
all
they
good.
can see. Because I like looking at
Yeah.
different aspects, different answers from different types of people, and
Right.
that's what I love, and that's what I like to bring to the show. You
Awesome.
know, so
It's a
uh,
great show. It's a great show.
yes, Thank you. Thank you. Let's do this again. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it again.
And I'll make sure I'm on time this time. Next time.
Yes. That's okay
See,
because
it's all this whole time travel thing. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I know.
up. But
15, you know what? 15 hours ain't no joke, man. That's
it ain't no
practically a
joke.
whole damn day.
It pretty
Oh,
much,
yeah.
pretty much. But it's been a pleasure, guys. Great meeting you all.
You
And,
too,
Yes.
Bill.
yeah, jump online
And
and send us a message, say g'day. So
I sure will. And I will be contacting you again in about 2 months just to say hello and see how you guys are doing and
awesome.
possibly get you guys back on the show.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be back. We're going to actually be over in the States in September and October. So
Oh,
we're,
wow. That's
we'll
weird.
be
I'll
in,
be over.
you'll be in
I'll be
Japan.
over. Yeah, I'll be over there.
We'll be down in San
He'll be
Antonio at
here
some point.
with
So
me.
that's,
Yeah, that'd be interesting. All right, guys.
yeah.
Hey, this is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast. Hey, thanks for the panel. Appreciate all you guys coming on the show. I really enjoy it. Hey, we need to do it again. In the meantime, peace.
Peace.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Said I'm
Bye.
a game to realize the words I'm with is a grace, but I cannot get it. I wanna save everybody in the world. Now we know it's time to break. Hey. Now we break it down. Now we know it's time to break. Time to break. Now we know it's time to break. I never fold under pressure till I diamond. Hurt main bold measure, never lying. New cat in the jungle, putting her hurt and need a muzzle. New raps and a hustle, leave them clueless like a puzzle. Time to break, as the record set, I'm back. I'm never late shining, never let no track defeat the odds. As long as I am standing, it's brawl of the gods when you know my punch is landing. It's time I'm letting loose, having fun like a carnival. Man, I let you choose, want this beef, I'm a carnivore. In the streets, I was on a stroll. I was working, cooking up every day like a stove. I'm a stove, heaters like a stove top, hot to